CEO, wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black-owned firm, but we ain't all black.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and this is the Grow Your Money, Don't Blow Your Money, because if you blow your money, it ain't a damn thing funny. What's happening? It's the Grow Your Money podcast. It's your girl, Constance Carter. And listen, I'm so excited to be here. We got a little bit beside ourselves. I was out here, I'm sorry that I'm a couple of minutes late. I think, oh, Lord, I'm 6 minutes late. I'm so sorry, y'all. I was talking to my girlfriends, my good girlfriends. You'll see them a little bit later. But before I bring my girlfriend out, my good girlfriend, I want to just welcome you. I want to welcome you all I want to make sure that you put your name, what's up, Precious Jewels, in the comments, where you're watching from. Okay. I want to know all the goods. What's up, RJ McKenzie? So where are you watching from? Because I know we have people who watch from all over the world. So I want to shout you out. I want to recognize you. Who are you? Where are you watching the Grow Your Money podcast from? What's up, Atari? What's up, B1? The second thing. Okay, so this is muy importante. You ready? Get close. Get real close. Okay. If you are a Black-owned business, if you have a Black-owned business or you know somebody who has a Black-owned business, I need you to put your Black-owned business in the comments. You know why? Because it's extremely important, especially now in these current economic conditions, that we support one another, okay? So I want you to put your Black-owned business, what's up, Leanne, in the comments, okay? So what is their Black-owned business? How can they reach you? Because we need to support each other. What's up, Gino? That's one. The other thing is, that Black-owned business, Tiarra is actually putting together a Black business directory, y'all. And if you can please send her your information, because it's important, again, that we share our information out. We want to put you in the Black business directory. So email your information to info@realvirtual.net so that we can put you in a directory so that we can share it. We want to matchmake. We want to let everybody know that you are in business and we want to do business with you. I don't know if you know, but I'm Black and I have a Black-owned business. But one of the things that's really important for me as a Black person is the need to support Black-owned businesses. One of the things I often hear people say, I used to hear people say, I don't hear people say it that much no more, is they say, I don't do business with Black people. I've not heard that in a long time, because now I think it's uncool to say, but I think it used to be cool to say, because I think we were brainwashed into thinking that we were less than, or that our services were inferior to other people's. Okay. And so now we understand that, listen, we do good business too. People who look like you do good business too. There are some that don't, but the ones that don't, here's my suggestion, offer them constructive feedback. Tell them what they can do better. Okay, they may receive it or they may not receive it, but give them an opportunity to correct themselves. Because if they don't know, and perhaps they do, but if they got constructive feedback, I remember when I went to Atlanta, and I ate at what's her name's, Old Lady Gang. I ate at two or three different locations. So I ate there like 3 times that weekend. I ate at 2 locations 3 times. I went with different people. The last day I went to another location, and the experience was less than subpar. It was a bad experience. And so, I left a Yelp review, but the cool thing was they emailed me and said, what can we do to make this better for you? We thank you for the feedback. You need that kind of, you want to have people that want to hear the constructive feedback. And I wasn't really negative, but I was just saying, listen, whatever it was. And I don't remember because it was like in 2019, but I gave them feedback. On the same token, I remember when I had some people do some t-shirts for me, right? I had my cousin who has an amazing t-shirt. Amazing t-shirts. And then there was another girl that somebody recommended for me to do my t-shirts. I was having a retreat. So I had her do some t-shirts and I had him do some t-shirts. Wanted to give this young Black woman an opportunity to do the t-shirts. Well, his were amazing, right? And his were actually cheaper. Hers, this girl ironed on these logos. She just literally printed it, ironed that shit on, and before we even had the damn retreat, the shit was falling off. And so I remember telling her, I said, I'm gonna pay you. for sure. But let me just give you some feedback about the service. And her response was, okay, when you gonna pay me? I mean, I don't know. That's how she said it. I don't know if she rolled her neck and said it. However, it sounded that was a response. So for me, for her, that was no longer an opportunity for me to do business with her because she wasn't really receptive to the feedback. She was just like, I felt like she was one step from cursing me out. But I'm always going to look to my people first. Right? Why? Because other communities do the same thing. And I'm unapologetically Black. I'm not anti anything else, but I'm unapologetically supportive of B1, of Black first, of always wanting to do business with Black people first. I'm going to always give us an opportunity first because as we should, we need to look to ourselves first, just like the Jews look to themselves first. I was talking to a girlfriend last night who's dating a Jewish gentleman. And she's Black, and when they meet her, when he introduces her, meet the parents, it's going to be something. But they're very community minded, and that's one of the things that we were talking about. Is they're so community minded. They are so strict, and they are so disciplined in how they ensure that they're all about generational wealth. They have one path or two paths to go. That's either start a business or be a rabbi, or have a bunch of babies if you're a woman. And of course, you don't want to be, handcuffed in that way to where it's so strict that you can't, just act in the way that you want to and live your life the way that you want to live. However, you do want to be able to have some of those disciplines and those modalities inside our community to make sure that we're doing business with each other first. Okay. So even if some Black folks that you've gone to, they don't act right, give them good feedback. And if they don't change, go somewhere else. But it doesn't mean that you have to paint everybody with a broad brush. Okay. I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry. I did a 6-minute soapbox, but I just need us to understand the importance right now of doing business with people who look like you. Because right now we are in an economic crisis with everything that's going on in this country and across the world. I don't know if y'all seen, but these protests are off the motherfucking chain, y'all. Have y'all seen this shit? I mean, they have effigies of Trump just doing all kind of crazy stuff. They burning him across, in places all over. They burning American flags. It's crazy. And, with the wand of his hand, he has the power to create, peace or chaos. And I don't know if you've seen, but even we couldn't even get a break on Easter. Like, this motherfucker came out guns blazing on Easter. Can we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, please? This motherfucker came out for you left radicals and you motherfuckers over here. I mean, it was crazy. So, and he has the power to be able to do that. So before we go even further into it, y'all, I need to bring my good girlfriend on the stage. I think she might have came back last week. And y'all really missed her, but let's bring her on. Hey, what's up, TT? What's crack-a-lacking? Miss Black Hollywood, you muted, baby.
I'm not muted. What's up, y'all? I'm in the gym today, feeling good. I just came from the gym. Now I'm back in the gym.
This chick, I don't know if y'all seen last week. She said, I do 2 a days. I go hard in the morning and I do something fun at night. What the fuck is you trying to do, sis?
I'm just trying to get fine.
Okay, you already fine.
Trying to get ready for just trying to get ready for some things. You know what, though, to be honest, I really feel like in this next season, and I don't know if we talk enough about this, y'all, I just really want to develop a level of mental toughness that I feel like you get through working out, you get through challenging yourself to do hard stuff. So I want that, like that David Goggins, but not so many curse words kind of like mentality, So I'm just working on that,
Well, here's what's not going to happen. So you and I are going to be in Miami in a couple weeks, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to be in Miami. It's going to be cool, right?
Yeah,
right?
It's going to
be popping. It's going to be cracking. See how cute she look right there. What I'm not going to do is be standing anywhere in the vicinity of Tiarra. This is what's not going to happen because you ain't going to have my ass looking extra fat while your ass is extra fine, my nigga. It's not going to happen.
I can't say you. I'm not.
And I'm not going to the gym 2 times a day. Okay. I'm not going to.
Well, what we gonna do? And I've been trying not to eat. Yesterday, I think my daughter's trying to sabotage me, y'all. We came home on Easter. She was like, "Can you make some macaroni and cheese and some yams? And can we have chicken and cornbread?" And I was like,
And you obliged?
I say I made it, but I was definitely like, "You can't make that." And then I was eating kale at first, but now I was like, "Man,
You was not
listen."
eating kale with all that good ass food.
I was eating that kale salad like. After a few hours, I was like,
she said,
"Okay,
can you
I'm
make
about to
chicken?
go and
And can you
listen."
make some fried chicken and mac and cheese and
Yes,
greens? And,
yes.
and you did
And
it
I ate,
all.
it's sitting there eating kale. I'm not playing with
Did you
Lori.
do it though?
I did eat. I did eat.
Oh.
But yesterday she asked me to take her somewhere else. So I'm saying, y'all, she be trying to sabotage me.
No,
She was
that's
like, "Can you
discipline.
take me to get some yogurt?" And I was just standing there looking at the yogurt. I didn't eat it.
The frozen yogurt.
Yup. I didn't eat it. Yogurt land. I didn't eat it.
Good for you. I'm so proud of you, sis.
I wanted it though.
I'm so proud of you. Listen, I need to get the discipline and mental toughness. Maybe I will be successful at life if I was able to just do that.
Oh,
but
you successful in life. What you talking about? Let me wipe off my little thing. I don't know.
No.
You successful in life. Listen, you don't
I ain't
need no
successful.
Mr.
You know,
I
but
don't know anybody that works as hard as you do.
oh, nobody works harder. I'm trying to work smarter though. But you know, but you do. Listen, let me tell you something. When I have it set in my mind, I could do it. I just have to like something hasn't clicked yet, right? So when it does click, it's a wrap. Like when I make up my mind, when I make a decision that okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just knock this out. I know how to do that, but I'm just waiting on that click to happen.
Yeah.
It ain't happened. So I don't know. Maybe I need to get like a boo or something, and maybe he'll encourage. No,
a boo's gonna make you fat. Don't do it.
Okay.
Because you're gonna be there. You're gonna be happy. So it's like happy.
No. Listen, let me tell you something. Falling in love and heartbreak. Those are the two weight lossers for me. Because you falling in love. I can't eat. I can't eat. I just want to consume him 24/7. Hey, I'll be hella skinny if I get a boo. Or if he breaks my heart, I can't eat, I can't sleep.
He's gonna be like outside running.
Either way. But anyway, listen, Tiarra, I don't know if have you been seeing what's going on with these protests?
I have and I have not, because I just, it's just too much. And I know y'all know it's too much going on. There's always something happening. And some days I'm just like, I ain't got it in me today. I ain't got it in me.
Yeah.
So I have been and I have not.
Kind of like in and out. I just been seeing like some
in it, but not in it. I'm like, foolishness is still ensuing. Got you.
I feel you. You ever notice that when injustice hits the streets, it's always full of us? When we's on the front lines, we had megaphones, signs, we was chest out. But now, you know what, Tiarra? We tired.
We're tired.
We quiet. Mm-hmm. And folks are asking, I've seen it on the news. They're asking, well, where's the black people when the protests pop off? But maybe the question is, Tiarra, where should we be? Because let's be real. Marching without a mission, screaming without a strategy is not enough. And maybe, just maybe, we are done asking for change and we doing something different.
Yeah. I think we did our job, right? We were part of that 92%. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted this thing to go a completely different way, and it didn't. And I think people really took that seriously. Like, I'm gonna sit this one out. And I don't think we can really afford to sit it out. But I went walking with one of my Mexican girlfriends yesterday, and she was like stressed out. She was like, I'm scared to go. And I was like, I didn't say it, but I was thinking like, girl, welcome to blackness. Like,
right? Y'all done fucked around and found out.
I was like, dang, it sounds hard for you, sis. Like, I didn't say that, but I was thinking it in my mind, like, welcome, like, to the Black experience. Not like, she was like, I'm scared to leave the country because what if I'm not able to come back, and what if I'm deported, and what about my family? I mean, she was really stressed, and I was like, dang, I don't got those worries today. So that's cool.
I saw on 60 Minutes, y'all. They said, he was like, the worst criminals are being deported. And on 60 Minutes, they said 75% of the people being deported don't even have a criminal history. 75% of the people being deported don't even have a criminal history. And then he says we're gonna deport citizens and non-citizens. Like he's like it's crazy to think of what the power is. And I was having a really spirited conversation with a gentleman last night, and he was saying some things that I didn't necessarily agree with, but he was talking about like, well, I'm gonna bring him on. His name is Dale. What's up, Dale?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? So that's how you gonna bring me on?
Huh?
You gonna bring me on because you didn't agree with me?
No, I mean, it was a spirited conversation, which I think it was completely way off base, but it did. I know we weren't really necessarily talking about the protest. What were we talking about last night, Dale?
I think we were talking about, why I guess you was talking about. I was talking about the culture of Black people. I think that I think one of the problems that we have right now that we have no rules to our culture, and so since we don't have no rules to our culture, everyone is going in every different direction, so we can't come together. And I think that that's the biggest part of the problem that we have within the Black community. We have really good community.
So hold on. Can you turn your phone this way? Can you turn it sideways?
Turn it sideways?
Yeah. Okay. So with that perfect.
Wow.
Okay.
So
cool.
with that being said, you talk about the rules. There's no rules. Every other culture has rules, and so we're not on. Basically, to me, it sounds like you're saying we ain't on code.
Well, again, we have no rules. You just think about it. When you're a Black person, when you become part of a fraternity, you have rules. So then you become part of that culture and you do the things that they want you to do. And so, if you're in a fraternity and you go to Chicago and you see someone wearing the colors of the fraternity, you'll walk up to them and talk to them. You engage them. They become your friend instantly. You guys have this common theme about what you guys want to do. We don't have that here in the Black community. We see things that are going on, but we're all doing our own thing. And there's certain things that we should be obligated to do that we just don't feel like we have to be obligated to do. And I think that in other communities, it's more of an obligation to their community or to their
what though? But before you tell me that, before you tell us that, so you didn't send me your little 2-liner bio that I asked you for. So tell people who you are, what you do, where you at in the world, and all that other good stuff.
Well, my name is Dykes. I'm originally from Harlem in the Bronx. I was a former investment banker. I went to Wharton Business School, did investment banking for JP Morgan, private equity for JP Morgan. Moved to Washington, D.C., started my own business. I've been in business for 20 years. I have about 11 employees. And I'm just,
making that money.
A hardworking Black man.
Yes, a BMW. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, this Negro has the best basement I've ever seen in my life.
But now you got to explain why you're in my basement.
Uh-oh. You had me tied up like Biggie said.
No,
okay,
but so I'm sorry. What was the other lady's name?
Tiarra, Miss Black.
Tiarra. To piggyback on what Tiarra said is that our people are tired. I think that back in the day when civil rights, it was one common group of people, right? We all was in the same boat, and so we all came together. And even if it was like 80% of the people in the same boat, and only 20% of that 80% came together, that was a lot of people. But because we was 80% in the same boat, we were being segregated against. We couldn't, drink out the water fountain, couldn't ride the bus. It was a bunch of us that was faced with those problems. So even if 20% of those people got together, that was a lot of people. Today is different. It's different sections now. We got the middle class. We got
poor.
We got poor and stuff like that. And so in the middle class, which is the ones that's really looking out what's going on, they got one big problem.
What's that?
When these protests happen, guess what? We're at work. And so we don't have the same desire for those sacrifices that they had back then. Back then, it was a badge of honor to get arrested, to have civil disobedience in order to kind of disturb what was going on. We don't have that appetite anymore, unfortunately.
But Dale, and I'm gonna pose this question to both y'all, because when George Floyd was murdered, black people was protesting. In other instances, we protest.
We
Do you
weren't
think
working. We weren't working. It was the
it was a
remember it
pandemic?
was a pandemic. Remember,
Okay, but
it was
still,
that
there was
so
still
more
a
than normal people, more than the normal people were out there.
okay. But let me ask you this though: do you think that we might just have protest fatigue because it ain't got us nowhere? Do
No,
you think no?
no, no. I don't think we have protest. I think that the reasons why I said is the reasons why I said even
Because we at work. That's why we not
Well,
protesting.
I'm telling you something. You say you got different people now, right? We're not all in the same boat anymore, right?
Right.
So when there's an issue out there, wow, we can sympathize or even empathize. But it might not be something that is going to affect our pocket, or if we do get involved to the point that we want to, it might affect our pockets. We might be on the news and our boss sees us on the news, and that might cause a problem. We think about those type
You
of
think
things now.
folks is thinking like that?
I
But
just
but you got to understand that's why you don't see all these Oprahs and Jordans and all that protesting, because they know that's going to affect their pocket. It's going to affect their pocket, and it's sad, but that's the reality of it to
they
me.
just send, they
I'm
just
gonna
send
go with
money.
what Marjorie
They
said
just
though.
send money. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna get out and protest. They protest with their money if they do
That
send
part.
it, if they're a
That part.
part of that. I'll just say this. I think that once black people know what the plan is, and granted, our country has worked very hard to make sure that black people are not on code. That is by design.
Exactly.
We have right.
Hmm.
So I think that that kind of disenfranchisement has
Hmm.
like caused something. But when we on code, when they needed to raise those that money for Kamala, a couple hours raised
Yeah.
$1 million. When black people got a plan, they'd be like, "Oh, this is what we doing." Or if
Bet.
something go viral. Listen, I don't know how many black people I've seen with boots on the ground this week, but let me tell you, that's when they know what is happening, they will come. They will, but it just has to be like, "Oh, y'all going? Oh, we both." I remember for Obama, like once he got his momentum, we was like, "Oh, this is what we doing? Okay, let's do it." It's not. I don't know. I don't know if it's we're at work or I don't know.
No, I
I
think
don't know if I can agree with that, but I think once we have an agenda and we can be unified, I think we sink back into what we know, and that's
what
supporting one another.
I agree with you. I think the difference in that is that when we have to donate, when we have to donate money and stuff like that, that's an easier thing to do, because we can just go on the computer and donate the money, and we feel like we did something. When
Hmm.
we have to kind of like, hey, listen, I'm not coming to work tomorrow, or I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, so I can be out there. It's a little harder for us, and not be, I can do it because I'm the boss.
Right.
I can go out there and do whatever I want. But I'm thinking that one of my employees come to me. I have some Spanish people that work for me and said, "Hey, Mr. Dale, I'm not coming to work tomorrow because I need to protest this." I would empathize and sympathize when I know that that's the right thing of me letting him go do what he needs to do. But that'd probably be a hard ask when he knows that we're working on this very important project the next day. I just think that has a lot to do with why the masses are not out there the way that they should be. And then
Very.
because when you think about the lower income people, yeah, when they hear about it, they go out there and they're out there. But I just think that the middle class people that's having this conversation right now, that really needs to be there, because we could be the ones that when they start doing an interview, we can articulate and really kind of like show what the plan is. Those are the people I believe that are missing. Most of those people are missing.
Well, let's ask the chat, because I want to know from the people. We got at least 125 people in here. Do you agree that you at work, y'all? Is that the issue? Is that why you're not getting outside, because y'all got to work? Y'all can't ask for time off? Or y'all going outside and protesting? What are y'all doing? I want to know in the chat. So let us know what you would do if we had to go outside and protest right now. What would you do? Would you have to
I
go to
think
work?
I think Margie is spot on. See, this is the thing, y'all. Black people, we know that our power is not in being in the streets. Our power is not on the front lines marching. That's not where our power is. Our power is in our pockets and what we decide to do economically. Because you got to think about the
Yes,
Montgomery
yes,
bus boycotts when that happened.
yes.
It took over a year for them to be in bankruptcy and collapse. And we did everything we could in unison.
Yeah.
Look, even now, let me show you what's going on with Target. Let's watch that.
The boycott of Target during Lent has had a significant impact on the bottom line of the company, according to the pastor leading the charge.
The fast shifts to a full-out boycott.
The CEO of Target is talking with Dr. Bryan about steps moving forward. So far, more than 200,000 people have signed up to be a part of this fast.
We had 4 asks and only walked away with one thing. Target has agreed that by July the 31st, they will complete the pledge of $2 billion for black business. We gave you 40 days to answer 4, not 1. We ain't going back in there. We asked that they would invest $250 million in the black banks so people would have access to capital for businesses and for home ownership. We asked the Target to invest in HBCUs and to give a re-examination of what DEI would look like in the future.
You met with the CEO?
Yes.
What was that like?
We're still meeting. I think it's a healthy start for where it is that we are.
Do you think they hear you?
Oh, they hear me. The cash register hears me. So no, they hear me. Power concedes nothing without a demand. What I've heard is a lot of people are resolved in not going back. It's going to be a whole lot of heavy lifting that will be on the shoulders of Target to do, not for us.
What do you think the impact of this movement has been so far?
I think that companies will be leery about how they mishandle minority communities, knowing what the impact has been on Target and not wanting it to visit their own.
Yeah.
So going back to what I said before is that back in the day, we disturbed the process, meaning that when we sat in, they couldn't do work at that restaurant because we were there. When we didn't get on the bus, we disturbed the money flow. We disturbed that stuff. So those protests that we did, we disturbed something. The protests that we're talking about with Target, we're disturbing their money flow. Correct. When we go out there and we just protest and shout, for a large amount, we're not disturbing anything. And so we have to do protests that's going to disturb the people we're protesting against. And I think that once we, like you said, have a plan, and the plan is to whatever we do and how we protest, it disturbs the people that we're protesting against. They have to respond. If we go 1,000 people and we go out in front of the White House and we just talk and yell and everything like that, and it's not really disturbing anything, it's just, making traffic a little unbearable for a couple hours, there's no response to that after we leave.
I think we're finally on code.
I think visually, listen, I remember when they were protesting for George Floyd out on Hollywood Boulevard, and there was like hundreds of thousands of people out there. When I tell you, it was like, there was so many black people out there. I had never seen anything like that in my life. It was beautiful, but it gave me the visual was, we do show up. We do support. I think that there is, as a storyteller and as a person that's visual, I think being able to see it makes a difference and being like, okay, black people is not fucking around. Yeah. I think it's important to see it and also give your money.
I think you're right. I think that you're right. George Floyd, 2 things about George Floyd. One is that it was during the pandemic. 2, it was a really bad situation. It was a really bad incident, that really people it kind of, they were really like, wow, they were hurt by it. And so that forced a little bit more participation. However, when someone says, okay, we have to go protest in front of black people protest in front of the White House for DEI, which is very important, I think then it becomes like more of a decision, like, do I go here or do I go there? And I think that's when there's a problem. I think that, again, once we do any type of protest that disturbs something where they have to respond, I think that those protests are work a little bit more in our favor than when we just do something where we just stay for a couple of hours and then leave.
Mm-hmm. I think that we carry a lot of trauma as Black people. You know, our parents march, we march, our kids are asking, why the hell are we still marching? We seen hashtags come and go, justice delayed, justice denied. I think it's more about exhaustion. You know, I think we're just tired. The protest fatigue is real. And I think for the first time, we are more on code because it's about strategy over just symbolism. And I think, like you said, Tiarra, we do need both, right? Because they need to see our faces in order for them to really be empathetic towards our cause. But that money is the thing that's going to be the great equalizer, because Black people are choosing power over performance. Instead of signs, we're building systems. And that's the thing that I think that is important, that we really need to get out there. So we ain't just out here chanting, we writing checks. That's the difference.
Okay, so
you on fire with these signs and strategies and checks and checks. I see you, Constance. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
What is the blueprint for that? Then why haven't I seen it?
You see it? I just showed you a video of Target. Look at what's happening.
No. We can see Target. I mean, I understand we're disturbing something. I see that. And guess what? I cannot go to Target and I can be in that protest and it doesn't, it doesn't like, inconvenience me in any way, because I have access to
Target. You know, when I as a financial strategist and I'm sitting down and I'm looking at people's information, it's a lot of Target runs on there. I just got to go to Target real quick. And
listen, I don't know about you, Dale.
It is convenient to not be able to run to Target real quick and pick up some shit. So we are sacrificing.
So me, I love Target too, and I go whenever I have, my some people, family coming in. I gotta get new bedding, so I do that. However, my thing would be more Amazon. If you told me I couldn't use Amazon, then I would have a bigger problem.
I was like, we talked. Yeah, I was like, yeah, we gotta do something. We gotta do something because we can't use Amazon. I don't know what we're gonna do. We gotta build some factories. We gotta build some warehouse. I don't know.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that if that is the plan, we need some leaders or whoever to kind of let us understand that that's a big plan. Not just Target, is everybody. How are we gonna get together and do it for everybody?
Listen. But then, okay. So what is it, Dale? Because are we not on code or are we on code? Because how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. We can't do everything, but we are very focused on this one thing that we're doing. And we've brought Target to their knees. Now they want to respond. When we go back and talk about the protests back in 2020 with George Floyd, all of them, everybody was like, Black-owned businesses, DEI, I'm supporting Black-owned businesses. And as soon as it got uncool, they rolled these things back because they did not do it from the bottom of their heart. And it showed. And what they didn't realize is how important the Black dollar is. And they fucked around and found out for real.
Well, I think they know. I think they know how important the Black dollar is. I think they do, but they took us for granted. When you see a lot of this stuff, they take us for granted, and then we have to show them. And listen, you better understand that we are 20-30% of your revenues. So you better But I think that they take that for granted when things are just going really well because they think that they put a Target in our neighborhood, we got to go. We're going to go. So I think that's a little different.
I'm sorry, Dale. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just about to say, so one of the things that we've done, obviously you ain't seen it, but we've been on, we run a few shows on this platform. And the next show after this show is Fly Nubian Money. And one of the things that we always talk about with our audience is like what we're going to do a plan. We got on Fridays, we only patronize Black businesses throughout the week. I mean, personally, I don't really order from Amazon. I don't go to Starbucks. I don't do Walmart. I've been running to Costco. I made real shifts in my personal life. And that's what we preach on the show right after that I produce. And it's just, I think for us, just like if you have a platform and you can talk to people, you can let them know what the plan is. And 9 times out of 10, the people in the audience that are here today have heard our plan. And like we talk about it literally all the time. So I just think that I know that these are like little water coolers around, but if we're all saying the same thing at the water coolers, it's not like we're not on, like we were talking about being on code. If we're saying the same things, right? We're having the same conversations. I think that there's change happening, but like Constance just said, it's just happening slowly because we can't undo all of the things that have been done to us. So we just kind of got to roll it back as we can.
And I agree. And I say one other thing, because if we had a rule, that okay, this is what we're going to do, and everyone had to do it or felt a little obligation to do it, then you'll have more of an impact. For example, uh, and I'm not comparing us to the Jewish community. I'm just using an example because every time I say something,
Don't start
constantly
no
you
shit.
comparing it to don't
Don't start no shit.
But
Because
the thing is,
this is where
let me
the
tell you what I'm
spirits
saying. Let me tell you what
in
I'm
the
saying.
conversation last
Let
night.
me tell you what I'm saying. The Jewish people have this thing like, listen, if anyone publicly say anything about us, we're coming after them and we're gonna cancel them and we're gonna make sure that they don't say anything about us again. That's a rule. That's a rule that they have. That's a rule that they have. And guess what? They got another rule that says we'll never discuss our business, our differences in the public. So let me take you back to this example. When Kyrie Irving was talking about the book that he wanted Black people to read, it was honest. Listen, you should read this book. It's about
The
so and
truth
so, the truth and everything. And but it had a lot of stuff to do with the Jewish people in it. Jewish
about
people didn't like that.
black
Jewish
people
people
being
didn't
more
like that. And
beautiful.
guess what? They got together and they said,
They
yo,
canceled them.
we ain't gonna let that happen. And they canceled him through the NBA, through everything, all the people they had in power, they canceled him. Now, and I told you, who sold the book? Who he was pointing to where you can buy the book. What was that? Amazon. Who owns Amazon? A Jewish person. I'm sure they went to Jeff Bezos and said, listen, yo, you're selling it on your platform. They had that conversation. We never heard that. Because they wouldn't do that in public and say, Jeff, why are you selling this? You shouldn't be selling this. They'll never do that to another Jewish person because that's a rule within their community not to do that. And
So
what I'm saying is that we need to kind of and again, the reason why we don't have rules because they took all that stuff away from us through all the trials and tribulations that we've been through. So, they systematically made it so that we don't have these type of rules and stuff like that. But what I'm telling, the conversation we had last night was about why is the Black community not, as together as we should be and doing the things that we should be doing. And I think one of the reasons is because we don't have the same rule system in our communities that other communities have.
and I
It's
can
not
get
until
that.
we become part of something else and adopt their rules that we become more effective as a Black person, like a Black person in fraternity. They're very effective because they adapt the rules of the fraternity, and that becomes them.
So if I may, you
And then I'm a May after you.
okay?
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you may first. You may
Hold on,
first.
I gotta get another guy I gotta get another guy that thinks like me on this. Go ahead.
You know what? You know what, Dale? I hear you. I do, and I acknowledge that. I'm just gonna say this. There's and I keep saying this as a
Speak up a little
storyteller.
bit. Speak up a
Black
little
people.
bit. Speak up a
Can
little
you hear
bit.
me?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
and
you just
also let me get my charger because it's about to die. I'll be right.
Oh Jesus. Um. Okay. Well, I don't know. Do we say?
go ahead and
Can
say
I may?
yes.
Okay. Can you hear me, Dale? He's gone. All right. So what I'll say to that, y'all, is that I hear as a person that tells stories for a living, I know that Black people have been sold a story. I know that there's a story and reoccurring themes that keep being passed around. I know that Adele, what I was saying was, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. As a storyteller, I'm going to keep saying this. I think that Black people have been sold stories and told stories, and they buy it and they embrace it and they say, yeah, because Black people don't do A, B, and C, and we don't do this and we don't do that. Thank God that I got to go on. I've been trapped for the last 15 years of my life. I've gotten to
Uh-huh.
travel with Dr. Boyce Watkins because he has shown me that Black people are more unified than and we are more on code than how you would think we are not, right? Like it just changed my perspective on who we are, what we really into. We are all the same and want to do the same things and build wealth and do right things by our communities and our families, but we just get a bad rap. So I don't believe all the things, but it's like Black people don't do this and Black people don't do that and Black people, I think we do.
Yeah,
Actually, I think
I
more of
agree.
us do it than not. It's a small section of our community that represents the whole. It's like looking at rappers and being like, that's all Black men.
Well, you got to think about it, because that's what's exacerbated in the media, and we don't control the media. Wait. What did Take say? What did Take say? Look,
our violence isn't the threat. Our love is. Our family separated. It's fine. It's perfect. The man staying with his family and raising his kids and pouring into his woman. That's the threat. That's why R&B takes such a back seat, because we're not promoting the aesthetic that continues to perpetuate the stereotype. You guys are killers. You guys are animals. You guys are savages. That's when you're at your best. So that's what we're going to reward. Those are the guys who get the $100 million deals. Those are the guys who fill up the arenas and stadiums and talk that shit. We love when you talk that shit. Love? We're cool. We're cool. We don't own conglomerates. It comes down to ownership.
Yep.
We don't own radio. We don't own streaming. We don't own media. We don't own none of it.
I want to say it for one more time for the people in the back, Tiarra. We don't own radio. We don't own media. We don't own streaming. We don't own none of that shit. Yeah. And so what's been put out there on the airwaves is what they want you to think about us. It's not the reality. And so just like you said, Tiarra, we've been sold a story about who we are from the powers that be. It's like racism. Black people can't be racist because a racism comes from a system of power. Yep. We don't have the power to be racist because it's a system. Yep. So unless we are in control and we are owning the systems, that is not what we can do. So what happened is every time we come to a place where, we had unity, what happened? COINTELPRO, they infiltrated our organizations. They said Black unity, Negro unity was the biggest threat to America. Our violence isn't the issue. It's our love. It's the unification of Black people. Yeah. And so just like you said, we've been sold this narrative of who we ain't, what we can't, all of those things. And what ends up happening is that's what's being projected all over the world. And that's what they think about us. But
and that's what we think about us.
That's what we think about us.
Constance, how many times have you sat with a Black person and they said exactly what Dale said? Black people just don't. And immediately I just get like my skin crawls. Not like, because I know that it's just something that people say. And then the next time if we're sitting with somebody else that then goes have a conversation with somebody else, it's like telephone, right? And we just all kind of.
Yeah, they say it every day in the chat. Yeah. We'll have one or two motherfuckers in the chat saying that shit every single time we come on.
Black people just don't, and I just don't believe that. I mean, even stats sometimes I'd be like, I don't know. I think that further they'll, you go get 20 Black people and then you be like, according to this, 90% of Black people don't take care of their children. And then we run with that, right? And they only ask 15 people.
Right. Exactly. Like, in a certain area, certain demographic. Yeah, 90% of them motherfuckers don't take care of their kids. But we're the only people that they do that to. So another thing he was doing is he was like, well, in the Asian community, in the Chinese community, or in the Jewish community, they do this. You cannot compare our experiences. They have not had the same experiences as us. When you try to say, oh, well, the Irish were slaves. No, they weren't. They weren't slaves like us. They were indentured servants for a period of time. But what happened was when these white British people, when they figured, oh shit, it's more them than us, we have to construct a race of people. And now let's consider them white like us. First, they were just Irish people. Same with Italians. We have to maintain our control as the majority. So this is how we get our power, by making these people white, so that we can keep these people, quote unquote, inferior. And we could be the dominant society. And these people, and again, remember, if you could take the lowest white man and convince him that he's better than the best color man, he won't even know that you're picking his pockets. That's what J. Edgar Hoover said. Not J. Edgar Hoover. That's what Lyndon B. Johnson said. He said, hell, give him somebody to look down on. He'll give you everything he owns. So again, the powers that be, they don't give a fuck about your race or whatever. They care about power.
Yeah.
It's the dumb people down here that are fighting against each other, and they're like, ha ha ha, let's pull the strings and keep ourselves in control.
Yeah.
That's what this and so Trump is the evolution of what that is. I was reading somewhere today. They said there was a couple of things. They said this presidency, of course, is this presidency.
Victim mentality holds us back. It's hard.
Is the manifestation of white rage that took hold when a black man captured the presidency. He is a consequence of white silence that has allowed him to escape accountability. Right?
Yep.
56% of white electorate voted for Trump. They were willing to ignore 34 felony convictions. They were willing to forget the hundreds of thousands of Americans who died during COVID because they didn't want a black woman in office. They were willing to overlook all of that because he was going to be good for the economy. Wait a minute. I didn't want to suffer. I just wanted them to suffer. I didn't know my farm was going to be, these tariffs was going to affect me. I didn't know I was going to lose my welfare. What? I thought it was just the ends and the Mexicans that were going to get deported because we don't want them in our country. That's what they thought. And they fucked around and found out real quick that he don't give a fuck about y'all either. He cares about the rich people. He don't care about you common people. He said, what did he say? I love the poorly educated.
Yeah.
Said that.
Because he can manipulate you.
He told y'all. He told y'all.
Because he can manipulate you. Like, he knows what to do. You know, I often talk about my experience working on The Apprentice. At that point, I was in the office. I did not meet Trump, but I did have to watch all the footage that came into the office from on set. And I just knew then that he was a showman. He was all about entertainment. I mean, he literally runs The Apprentice. He literally runs the country like he runs The Apprentice. You're fired. How are the ratings? How is this? You know, I often talk about how I watched that video of Dr. Fauci saying that Trump, he told, you know, when he told us to drink bleach.
He was like, am I in a Twilight Zone?
Yeah, he was like telling everybody to drink bleach and then went back to his office and was like, you shouldn't have did this. He was like, did you see the ratings? Because all it's about is getting attention, being provocative, bullying, all of that, like good showmanship, good television.
Yeah.
So he running y'all country like The Apprentice, and just it's not even real. You know, that you see the things that he does, like he gets information. He was like, yeah, tariffs, that's what we're gonna do. He has no idea what's
how they work.
Just saying shit, right? Just saying anything. He's getting pushed back. He like, all right, well, let's get rid of the tariffs right now. Like he don't know what he's doing.
No, it's very clear. And these dummies are still like, he's a businessman. You know, we just gonna have to roll these tariffs out until he gets it together because he is not looking out for your dumb ass.
Let me tell you about being an actress, right? Like when I worked at a private equity firm, me, right? I didn't work, as you can see, like I've been working in the entertainment industry, but people will see me and be like, oh my God, you could totally come and work for me. So I went and worked at a private equity firm, and he was like, you're going to be the VP of corporate communications. You know, I was reading books on private equity at night and like all Wall Street terms. I get into the meetings and be an actress, y'all, and just be like, the Dow is down. What?
That's what Trump doing.
That's what Trump is doing, yo. Like that's what's happening. He is literally an actor, and it's just because we don't know what we're doing. I didn't know what I was doing at the private equity firm.
That is so
I've never been there. What was I doing at P&G?
The Dow is down. He's like, the tariffs. You know, the thing is, these people they've been playing this, you know, for 30, 40 years. You know, they've been playing the slow game, and they finally found a dummy dumb enough to carry out the fuck they want to do. And he don't care because he just want to feed his ego.
That's it.
And he just want to get paid. Really quick, we're gonna go to this gym commercial, and we're gonna bring Dale back after the commercial. But I do want to share with you guys all of the things that were rolled back, that have since been rolled back since he's been in office, because I think this is really important for us to understand and know why we minding our black business. We minding our black business right now. Have you joined the Grow Your Money Club yet? If not, why not? The Grow Your Money Club is a comprehensive program designed to take you through the complete wealth building journey. We don't just offer random courses, we guide you along a clear path, starting with fixing your credit and becoming a certified credit expert, to building your business, increasing your cash flow, diversifying your portfolio, and ultimately letting your money work for you. With over 30 trainings designed to increase your net worth, you get to either purchase the trainings individually or go through the 12-month roadmap. Here are just a few of the courses. From campus to cash flows, this is teaching your children to become real estate investors. The Wealth Map training shows you how to eliminate your debt, increase your credit, and diversify your revenue streams. You can learn to write your book using ChatGPT. Learn how to build your online community. What about 8 ways to make money using AI? Oh, and here's 7 online revenue streams to fund your $1 million dream. How about learning how to purchase tax deeds or land banks? What about getting started in government contracting? If you're a rookie, the Real Estate for Rookies training has everything you need. The Business Blueprint training will help you build your business foundation, get business credit, get business funding, and learn how to pay yourself so that you can scale your business to the next level. Or perhaps you want to create jaw-dropping video content using CapCut, Midjourney, and ChatGPT. There are so many trainings and master classes within the Grow Your Money Club, and I also drop 1 new training per month. You do not want to miss out on this opportunity to invest in yourself, because guess what? You are your biggest commodity. You are your biggest investment. Join the Grow Your Money Club today. Let me tell you the reason why I have the Grow Your Money Club is because I don't want us to be as stupid as those Mountain Dew drinking inbreds that are the majority of Americans. What we realized during this administration is that 58% of Americans are dumb as shit. That's, I think, what we realized. Look at all the things that he's dismantled over just in 2 months. Department of Education, USAID, CFPB, which we needed to, help protect us. I mean, all of these, Department of Health and Human Services, State Department, HUD, some public broadcasting entities. Then he went off to the colleges, and then Harvard said, oh yeah, bet, game, set, match. And then he said, what did he say? Just kidding. Oh, that was a mistake. What is it that you are really doing out here, sir?
He's acting.
I was just kidding.
The Dow is down. No. So what's happening? Listen.
Dale, you good
Hey,
over there?
I apologize.
Welcome
I'm new to the podcast stuff, so I apologize. But I wanted to give you guys some time to talk about me, so this way,
He was
Oh,
talking
yeah, we
shit.
talk bad about you. Did you see it?
Did you feel it?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh shit! Yeah, you missed
No.
it. Got to go back and watch.
But
No.
But I guess what I was saying is that I think that, and I'm glad that you guys do this because I think we need more of it. I just think one of the things that is happening is that there's so many different distractions and different things going on. It's kind of hard to kind of focus. And I mean, you remember? I don't know. I'm in my late 40s. I remember an album used to last a whole year. Now, an album comes out and is done within a week because you get all the tracks at the same time. And so people are just there's so many things going on. It's kind of hard for them to focus on the things that really count for any long length of time. Mm-hmm. And if that's fatigue, if that's the type of fatigue you're talking about, then maybe that's it. But I just think that there are, people like yourself that are doing things that kind of bring awareness to the Black community. I just think that back in the day, we had a sense of obligation that we had to be involved. Also we had to be involved because it was touching us in a way that, if we weren't involved, then, we wouldn't have no say so at all. Now, some of us, we empathize and sympathize, but we have a lot of other things that's going on too that we have to deal with. And so it kind of makes it so that we don't have the amount of people that kind of can really people say, damn, I mean, the optics are good, but we need effective people that after the optics is over, that's going to keep the ball rolling.
Well, I can agree with what you said in terms of certain people will not for fear of, losing out on something. And when you look at the football protest, nobody came through for Colin Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize, these brothers did not realize the power that they had, that they could really effectuate a change, and they didn't do it. And so they failed miserably. I would say, and they were worried about they bottom lines. These are multi-million dollars.
So let me tell you, that's the ultimate thing where you see obligation versus money.
Mm-hmm.
Now they felt an obligation to him. He's a fellow ball player. They felt that obligation. A lot of them did.
And them
But-
old slaves stood up.
Yeah, but then they said, you know,
Massive
also it quantified, okay, the loss versus the obligation. And I think that that's the question. That's a lot of the question now. And it was different back in the day. They had obligation, but they didn't have a lot of loss because we all was in the same boat. Even our leaders were in the same boat as us. You know, our leaders weren't rich.
You're basically saying everybody was affected, and now in this day and time, not everybody is truly being affected in the same way, and so people don't have the same obligation that they've had in the past to do certain protests, because some people, you know, just by virtue of access and proximity they have, they're insulated from some of the things, but so they can care less. That's what you're saying.
Well, they're not insulated in the long. They're not insulated in the long run. Remember,
is that what you're saying that they think?
Yeah, they're playing the long game. You know, just like, you know, 2025 wasn't put together last year, 2 years ago. That was put together probably 20 years ago, stuff like that. So we're not insulated in the long game, but in the short game, we feel like, you know, oh man, I don't have to really deal with this. I have to deal with this over here. And so, you know, we're willing to kind of like, you know, sit back a little bit more than back in the day. We couldn't sit back.
So Tennis said Colin K had tons of support.
I still don't watch.
Yeah. You still out. Yeah.
I'm still out.
He said even Nike. So the sponsorships, I'm talking about the people who were his brothers that was supposed to be standing shoulder to shoulder with this man, and he was protesting for them and us. And they have the decency as Black men.
Can I say, that's a tough call, right? We're talking about men that have been playing football since they are 4 and 5 years old, have been like on a trajectory saying like, I want to play in the NFL. And you finally get to play in the NFL, and one protest means that your life is completely over, because those were brothers, like Brown brothers. Cap was able to recover. But I just think those darker skinned brothers, because we're not going to act like colorism isn't a thing. And Cap still, his woman said the other day that he still gets up and trains like he wants to go to the NFL. Now, nobody's going to pick him up. He's still like a free agent, considered a free agent, and still can't be picked up because he still has the heart to play. So he made that sacrifice literally for us, a game that he absolutely loves.
But what about the veterans? What about the veterans though, that were right there, that they could have, they had voices that they could have spoke out about?
This comes down to the concept that I'm talking about. It comes down to the concept I'm talking about is that, you know, they felt it. They know, they empathize, and they even sympathize. But it's hard, you know, and that's what, you know, when you talk about breaking the code, that's what they did. They said, okay, we're going to give these people some money. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they started giving some of us some money. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when they started giving us some money, they knew that, you know, if we give this person money, that person money, we give this person money, that we're not going to have the same obligation to kind of like do that, because we don't want to lose our money. Yeah. And so that's the problem. So when you come down to the protests and stuff like that, I think that's one of the problems that we have, because that we're not together, because, you know, it's kind of hard to kind of make that sacrifice.
Again, it goes back to our collective unity. And I think that because we were infiltrated by the powers that be, and they killed, when you look at them killing all of the leaders, they killed Fred Hampton, they murdered Dr. King, and the government did this. It wasn't, you know, some random people. It was the federal government. And so then after they did that, they dismantled our organizations, and then they put drugs in our community to further keep us. They say, you know what? We ain't even got to kill these Black people. Let's give them some guns. Let's drop some guns. Where these guns come from? I don't know. But now we got money, drugs, guns. Let them at it. And so this was all from the outside, you know, coming into our communities, and we've been flooded and infiltrated. And then let's criminalize them, you know, for the drug dealers, let's criminalize them. And then for the other ones, so then now we have a disproportionate amount of our Black men that are in the prison system. You know, it's just, and then of course our men get charged for, you know, they say, you know, I love it when white people say Black people only make up 13% of the population, but they do 50% of the crime. No, they don't. They get convicted. Okay. So, and 80% of the wrongful convictions are of Black people. So we're not doing most of the crime. We're just getting convicted most of the time. This is all
Story.
systemic.
Yeah,
It's all systemic.
And what we're told.
they play with
Story.
numbers. They play with numbers all the time. They play with numbers, but they have a plan. They institute a plan, and they're very methodical about how they put their plan out. Because a lot of, even with rolling back the rights for women to have abortions, they like you to think that all these black people are having abortions and stuff like that. It's not even about black people having abortions. It's about, they knew that if the trajectory that kept going the way it is, that in 2040, 2045, 2050, that there'll be a minority.
Yeah, they are.
So the
fear.
deal is that they knew that the white ladies were not having babies.
Correct.
So they're forcing them to have babies. That's what that's about. It's not
They're
about
trying to.
abortion.
Why
It's
do
not
you think
about,
they're importing Europeans?
but
They're
that's
saying, oh, all the South Africans, you can come over here for free. You don't
but
need
they
a
don't
visa,
tell you
but you Mexicans get the hell up out of here.
what they're not telling you is that that's the real reason.
Yeah, no, they're definitely afraid of the browning of America. It's
Yeah,
happening.
that's the real reason is
They're
that,
going to be the minority.
listen, y'all got to have babies. They if they could do it in real life and tell it the real story, they'll be on there, hey, y'all got to have babies. Stop it. They need the white people to, the white women to continue to have babies, and they're having more abortions.
Yeah.
And so that's taken away from the
and Margaret Sanger, she really meant, she was really a eugenics person. She was really meant to kill black people, or what do they call them? Undesirables, which were us. That's what Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood was all about, was killing black people. And guess who's getting all the abortions? Most of the abortions. Them.
And white people, yeah. That's what it's about. And that's why you think they're these men are so, because they have an agenda. And a part of the agenda that you got to make more white people.
Power. It's all about power.
It is about power.
This was a really great conversation, y'all. We're going to have to wrap this shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Dale, that was a great conversation. Even though you were wrong with 2 left feet, you were wrong. I think we agreed on one thing, though.
I'm gonna watch it back to see how y'all talked about me.
We talked about you real good.
I'm sure I got some people that's on my side though.
Yeah, not many.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see what comment.
Dale, so tell us. I know you have your own business here in. Where's your business in Bowie?
No, I have a contracting business for the federal and city government.
Oh, you no longer have a store here?
No, yeah, I don't have my store anymore. Nah,
okay,
I don't do homes anymore.
Okay. Oh, big time. Excuse me, multi-million-dollar contract. Okay, my bad. He ain't doing a little store for us. Okay, so how can they follow you? Where can they find you, Dale? Chris Williams said he on your side, bro. Look, Chris Williams said he is on your side.
That's it.
Stop your shit, Chris.
I don't have no way to be followed. I got warrants, so I'm just messing with you. I don't have no way to be followed.
Any final thoughts?
I just think that we need more of this, but we need a more cohesive way of kind of getting, people like myself to kind of understand the obligation that we have to, I just think that we need to kind of somehow change the code and make it so that we feel an obligation to each other the way we feel to people when we join another group. It's not until we join another group that we feel that obligation we should.
Join another group?
For example, I'm an alum of Wharton Business School. If someone from Wharton calls me, I don't know them, I'm picking up the phone. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to try to help them. I'm going to try to help their kid or whatever. That's what they teach us in school, that we owe it to each other to do that. And even if it's inconvenient for me, I'm going to do that. They teach us in school to do that. Our network is big and they teach us to do that. So I think the same obligation we got to have to each other as Black people. And I think that we don't feel that strong obligation to each other. Now, I'm not saying we don't help Black people, but I'm talking about a kid off the street or whatever, coming up to me and whatever feeling like we can have this conversation and talk, and I'll spend time with them and all that. I don't think that we feel that towards each other.
I think it starts with you.
It does.
Thank you. I appreciate you. We're gonna have to continue the conversation. So yeah.
It does.
All right, Miss Black Hollywood.
This was a mouthful. It really gave me some things to think about in terms of the way that I show up. I definitely haven't been outside for a protest in quite some time, but I understand its value. and I understand that both things need to be done regularly. So what I'll take from this is I'll continue to, speak on our platforms. We'll continue to create challenges for Black people. We have a Black business directory. If you'd like to send your Black business to join our directory, you can hit me at info@realvirtual.net. If you could show, okay, great, thank you. I'm just gonna keep showing up for Black people in the way that I know how. So Black people, I love y'all. You're at the forefront of my thoughts, and I'm just gonna keep doing that. Change will not come overnight, but I'm committed to the long run.
What's
I'm
going
cool.
on in Fly Nubian Money podcast today?
Ooh. So there was and I hate that you are not our lead today, Constance, because it's going to be such a good conversation. Basically, we're talking about there was a Black woman who was a pastor's wife.
I seen that shit. That's when I seen that. I was like, oh, she must saw me say this dumb shit on that comment, because that's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
I actually didn't see it. So,
you didn't see it?
No. So the Dear Wifey podcast is my really good friend. I actually was in Dallas when I was sitting and talking to him about creating the podcast. So it's so beautiful to see it do what it's doing.
Yeah, it's doing great.
Oh my God. So anyway, but her saying her husband, basically God gave her grace to even when her husband didn't love her and
said he didn't want her and call her all kind of names,
she still had grace to iron his clothes for when he was going to see his side chick. So I want to talk about Black women, and Black women as a woman in the church. I'm going to have a really interesting perspective on this, but I think that us using, there's a psychosis, maybe like a spiritual psychosis, where you allow logic to like leave and God is having you wait for your husband that you could willingly go outside and meet, maybe just you're waiting on the Spirit when really God is probably waiting on you. And we're gonna have a conversation about it today. So
child, there was another clip I think I seen today where she was saying, and if you don't do it, he'll get us a skank out there to do this. Girl, bye. Shut that stupid ass shit up. This is why people don't be going to church. Dumb shit like this.
I love church. I'm in church a couple times a week.
This is why people don't
but
go to church.
that wife feels an obligation to just miss.
Exactly. But we're gonna talk about that obligation, because is it spiritual, or are you having self-esteem problems, or what is it? Right.
And she said that dumb shit with her chest out on a bullhorn.
Again, she's in something where the rules say that this is, and she's trying to abide by the rules.
That was her interpretation.
That's a faith. In your faith, you stand with your husband and stuff like that. I mean, it's religiously based. And that's the rule of that. That's the rule. That's how she interprets the rules of her religion.
And he up there just cheesy like a chess cat. I'm like, y'all got to be
crazy. Yeah. Right. I watched that and was like, that's crazy. And listen, Dale, I go to church. Like I said, I sing in the choir. All the things. And I ain't no way. I thought it was like, ain't no way. Ain't no beep way.
So let me ask you a question. When you in church and you get ready to sing your solo, they say, okay, come up, Miss Hollywood. That's how they say it?
No, they just call me Tiarra. My name is Tiarra.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tiarra. What is Hollywood?
This Black Hollywood is my moniker.
Oh, okay, all right.
But I will say this, y'all, and this is kind of fancy, but Constance, so last week, we performed on, he's not ministered. We ministered.
Are you on the praise team?
Huh? No. No, I'm just in the choir. So it was interesting because, Stevie Wonder was in the front row. Tina Mowry was sitting next to me. MC Light was over there. Like, look, it was just I said, this is something. Like, this is a whole situation.
Oh, he's going to be bigger than
regular church Easter Sunday service. Like,
y'all going to be bigger than Potter's House for a minute.
Choirs, but I was like, okay, all right, well, this is cool.
I bet church was packed. I haven't been to church on Easter in over 30 years. Because I leave Easter Sunday for the folks who want to come with their Sunday best on, and I don't even show up on Easter.
I enjoyed this. Yeah. I enjoyed this, guys. I enjoyed it.
Listen, family, listen. We're gonna wrap up, but here's the thing: just because we ain't in the streets, it don't mean we ain't in the struggle. Okay. Yeah. So protest does not always look like fists in the air. Sometimes it looks like your credit being repaired.
Come on.
Sometimes it looks like you use collective economics. Sometimes it looks like you sitting at the table, you having a seat at the table. So we're not invisible this season, I believe. More than anything, I think we're being more intentional. We're not invisible bars. We're intentional. Okay. So y'all, as long as we keep building and investing and educating, and that's the reason why it's so important when you guys come on here every single day and you listen, not only are you being hearers of the word though, but you're being doers of the word. I believe, Black people, that we are marching just in a different direction. That's because the revolution ain't being televised, y'all. Guess what? It's being monetized. Ooh.
You know what, Constance, you listen, I don't know, were you the streets and the struggle and the signs and the strategy? Like,
I don't know. Today I got bars. Today. The revolution, I might put that on a shirt, is not being televised. It's being monetized. Listen. Hey, wait, real quick. I got this woke tip and then we're going to get up out of here, okay? Just real quick, 45 seconds, 41 seconds. Welcome to the Woke Minute. It's your girl, Constance Carter. This is where we will drop quick tips to build wealth, seize opportunity, gain knowledge, and empower your legacy. Protests make noise, but economic power makes moves. If we want to see real change, we don't just need to be at the rally. We need to be at the closing table, at the voting booth, in the boardroom, and at the bank. Stay ready so you never have to get ready. That's your woke tip, because when you stay woke, you stay wealthy.